should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't even know where to begin. If I allow myself to dream, will it be as good as it seems? Pull me out of this place in the middle. Nothing more to embrace in the middle.
is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Good morning. Good early morning. Twilight, Lord have mercy. You know, my oldest daughter, well, not my oldest, but my oldest that lives here, she'll be 14 in December. She loves those movies. She was actually reading the books. We rented them from the library, and I think she's on like the second or third one. Excuse me. Sorry, sidetracked. So, oh, I'm sorry you have a headache, Jenny. Trying to think. If you have turmeric will help with pain and inflammation. And actually, believe it or not, Midol is the best headache medicine, even for men. Like, I tell my husband all the time, like, if he's got a headache, I'll give him Midol. And I'm like, I know it's Midol for women, but it doesn't have anything specifically for women in it. It's like the best for a headache. I hope you can get rid of your headache and get some sleep, because 4 o'clock in the morning is early. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be anywhere. I don't care. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I did find where I had seen this it's called Maddie's Autopsy Details Weren't Supposed to Be Released. And it's by Gavin Fish. I've heard his name in passing, but I have not ever watched any of his videos. Most of the time when I put videos on here, I'm just doing a blind react to it anyway. So I have not seen this. And we're going to, I guess, watch it and see what Mr. Fish has to say about this. And let me add that I have not watched this, and I do not know that this is the actual autopsy, okay? So if I find that I think it's misinformation, I will let you know. I know in the state of Florida, for a child under 18, the autopsy will not be released unless the parents release it. But considering how much attention this case in particular got, it would not surprise me to find out that it had been leaked. So we'll see what this is and see if it goes over the autopsy. I know that she was, I do believe, bludgeoned. I can't remember. She was either bludgeoned in the head or strangled. Might have been strangled because there was no blood.
A good Saturday evening, everyone. For those of you on the live stream,
Tuesday morning here. Please give Gavin Fish a like and subscribe. I know he does a lot of true crime stuff, so I'm sure you could find out. And like I said, he's got this. I don't know if it's legit or not, but seems to have stuff that other people don't. So,
stream for the Rewatch crew, welcome whenever you are. So glad that you guys are joining me. Very happy that you're here. I did see a comment as we were coming up from George Glass saying, I will be very surprised if this isn't clickbait. I'm just going to say it from the very beginning. No, there's stuff in the reports that has been released. It's brief, but it talks about the autopsy and what the pathologist or what the medical examiner, what his concerns are. And we're going to.
Okay, so what I'm gathering from this now is that it's not the autopsy, but it's kind of a report of the autopsy. But we'll still listen and see what's said.
To go over that tonight. So, of course, we're talking about the case of little Madeline Soto, 13 years old, last seen the night of February 25th of this year, technically missing on the 26th. You guys know the story. You've seen all the videos, but this poor little girl lived a life that nobody is deserving of from at least the time she was 8 years old. And it's tragic, and it's terrifying, and it's sad. And I, if you guys have been watching me here, have been waffling back and forth about her mother, Jen Soto. I mean, the guy that was arrested for this is her mother's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. I feel like if everything that is in the reports is accurate.
Also, Jenny, if you have got a willow tree in your yard, willow bark was actually like the first aspirin. So I have an apothecary. I do a lot of natural herbs and remedies and things. And I have willow bark in there. And if you can get some willow bark and then make a tea out of it, it's not, it doesn't taste the best, but it'll also get rid of a headache. I've had real bad headaches, migraines, and drank some of that, and it helped. I don't know if you have a willow tree nearby, but I just thought of that off the top of my head.
Accurate and true, then I think Stephen Stearns did it, right? Of course, he has not been convicted of anything, and we're going to have to just wait and see whether he pleads or takes it to trial. We'll just have to see. But if everything that he's been accused of is true, then this guy is wow. I mean, it's just, and I believe that it's true. I'm not calling the cops liars or anything here. I believe it's true. But little Miss Maddie, she was found a few days after she went missing, just summarily dumped into a field in between some bamboo-like trees. And she had spent the last, 5 years of her life in just a hellish existence. And I think that might be the reason why we all care so much, right? But let's go ahead and get into these documents here.
I can agree with that statement. Learning what this child endured did make this case a lot more graphic, devastating, and made us curious about Jen and everything going on. I don't think unfortunately, children are murdered every day. And I don't know that it would have got as much attention as it did if we didn't find out about those horrific details that were happening to her. And I think everybody who's looked at this case holds a special place in their heart for Maddie.
I am still going through the something like 70 pages of documents that have come out over the last few days. I've not posted them on the website. For those of you who are new, I have a website, gavinfish.com. If you go to the website, there's always a link down below. You can find Madeline Soto's case page here, and it has all sorts of stuff, including audio recordings and case documents and so forth. I will get them posted there. Okay. But I have not yet, but I will do my best to get that done soon. All right. So let's get into this document here. This is a supplemental report that was filed on May 1st, 2024. So, a little over 2 months after Maddie was found, Stephen Stearns was arrested. Keep in mind that there are 3 investigative agencies that are working on these: Orange County Sheriffs, Osceola County Sheriffs, and Kissimmee Police Department. This is from the Kissimmee Police Department. The investigator is MJ Morris. Now, this document is 25 pages long. It is.
So I've pulled everything from the Orange County Sheriff's Department and the Osceola County Sheriff's Department that I could. Not Osceola, Kissimmee County, Lord of mercy. I have pulled everything I could get from the Orange County Sheriff's Department and the Kissimmee Police Department. I'll submit a request to the Osceola County Sheriff's Department to see if I can get this. I did recently submit a request to them, and that was about the couple who had the 2 toddlers running around covered in feces playing in traffic. Yay. And they sent them back to me pretty quick. The arrest affidavits that we went over a few days ago. I think it might have been Saturday or Sunday. Oh, yeah. Nevada might not have willow trees. Speaking of fig trees, we had a fig tree at a house we lived at, and the kids would go out there and eat them as a snack. It was, pretty cool that they could just go get a fig off the tree. But I never realized how hard figs are to grow. I don't know if they grow easy out here, but like on the East Coast over here in North Carolina, they're kind of hard to grow. And I kind of wished I had taken a cutting from that tree before I left. I wasn't really into that kind of stuff. I didn't have a garden or anything back then. Um, yeah, I wish I had grabbed a cutting from that fig tree though, because it was big and it had a lot of figs. And if I could have got a cutting from it to grow and kept it, that would have been really cool. And I grew some squash this year in my garden, but the squash bugs got most of it. Like I was able to pull like a few little baby pumpkins off of it, and I got a couple summer squash. But it was really upsetting how much they attacked my stuff. I actually started some more growing just to see if I could get anything before it drops below freezing here, because it won't get down to below freezing here until like we might have one um really cold night in late October. So I'm hoping I can get some more squash before the end of the growing season, because squash bugs really upset me this year.
Is the longest narrative. I'm just going to kind of quickly scroll through here. It is the longest narrative of any narrative that I have seen so far in this case. Okay. It's just, there's tons of it. What I have done is I've gone through and I've read it all, and there are just a couple things that I want to bring to your attention based on the conversations that we have had over the last couple of days. Well, the last couple of months that we've been covering this. If you guys want to get my attention in the chat, if there's something that you want me to see, please go ahead and put GF in there. I'm sure Autumn has already told you that, because Autumn is on top of things. I've got the best mods. Look at that. Autumn has already done it.
Nope, I got the best mod, Jenny.
Look at her. Look at her go. Look at her go. And look, Minnesota Girl says she is new to my channel. And I know that she said she's new to my channel because she put GF. Minnesota Girl, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Minnesota Girl, go to my website and look up David Elmquist. It's going to shock you. It's a Minnesota case. All right. Okay.
I didn't know he had a website. I might end up checking out some of the documents he has. Because I want to do this and then possibly try to look into another case. I've seen a bunch out about this Lord, I don't know his name, but he's got like tattoos all over his face. It's a kind of a big case, and I have not looked into it at all. Surprisingly, that's not like me. I'm usually like on top of all that stuff. And I thought about maybe if we have enough time today looking into that, but I am going to try to find some more cases for us to dig into.
Okay. So I just want to, there are a few things that I've highlighted, and then we'll get to the meat of this before we get to some of your comments. Okay. Okay. According to investigator Morris, on the 26th, it was 6:53 p.m. You can see it right here, 6:53 p.m. that it was a relative of Jen Soda called 911 to make a missing person report. Okay. She said that school is out around 4, so it was about 3 hours later that 911 was finally called. I don't know if that's an appropriate amount of time or not, but it just stuck out to me. Like 3 hours they were looking, they were supposedly looking for Madeline, and it was not Jennifer who called.
Now, oh, you're welcome, Jenny. I know that they called 911 and were told that nobody could get out there at that time because they had too much going on, which was really surprising to me. And they waited like 3 hours for the cops to show up. Because the cops had something going on and could not make it out there. So I'm not sure if that is in reference to after they had already called the first time and then they call it again, because they had been waiting so long, or if they had looked for her for 3 hours, called, and then ended up waiting 3 more hours for them to come out. But I do know it was like a 3 or 4 hour period. They were waiting for the cops to come and talk to them because the cops had said they were too busy to make it out there. They didn't have an officer to go, which I found really weird. And again, I'm sorry. If my child is missing and you tell me you don't have enough officers to come out to where I'm at, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. I'm going to be in that lobby, and I'm probably going to be loud, hollering and yelling at you. Like, what the hell are y'all doing? My child's missing. Somebody needs to do something. That's just me, though.
That is why it is redacted here. And by the way, there are a couple of redactions in this document that I did. I just feel like the names of like the daughter of Jen Soto's former husband didn't need to be there. The roommates' names didn't need to be there. So I've redacted those out as best as I can. But the rest of the redactions are by Kissimmee. Okay. So that's number one. 1853 is when the call was made. We've talked a little bit in previous videos.
I want to pause, that's why I keep pausing for fair use. But something I heard over the past couple of days listening to drama streams, which I shouldn't be. People are taking, like, this black part right here. People are taking that out and looking at the unredacted part. I don't know how they do it, but YouTubers are like able to take this black part off and see what is under the redacted part. That's probably why he's got these words over it, so people can't do that. I also heard that if you do it in red, people can't take it off. But I found that really interesting. I was like, I mean, I couldn't even begin to fathom how to do that, but I was like, wow, that is crazy.
About how Jen's story has changed. It's gone back and forth. According to a sworn written statement to Orange County detectives, this is a statement that we have read here on this channel. Jennifer said that she saw Madeline getting ready for school. She later changed that story. And let me just, there are a couple of things here. I'm going to skip down to here. We'll go back up to it. But later on February 27th at 11:15 a.m., so the morning after, Jennifer stated she actually saw Madeline at approximately 11 p.m. on the 25th. She stated Madeline went to the guest bedroom to sleep along.
Okay. I had to make sure I wasn't muted. Okay. So thank you, Jenny. She says that Jen told one of the teachers around 5:30 they were waiting on police. I believe 3 calls were made. I do know that like 2 or 3 calls were made. And I that's what I thought. I thought they had called relatively early, but the police were like busy and actually didn't end up getting out there till like 7 or 8 o'clock or something crazy. Thank you for that.
Along with Stefan because she just started a new job and needed to get some sleep, which she had not gotten recently. So that story, we had commented about that last night. Like, she's changing her stories here, and that is indicative of.
So she says it was 2 calls from Jen's sister and then 1 from her mom. I remembered specifically the one from her mom. Yeah. I knew there was a lot of calls and that they were waiting for a long time for the police to get out there, because I remember that when I heard that, I was just like, oh my God, what? Like, you're so busy. You can't send an officer out there when there's a missing child. Like, really? I mean, like, I'm not trying to be graphic or anything, but the only thing that would trump that is if like 7 people got murdered at once or something, then maybe I could see the whole police department being somewhere. But like, come on now, you can't spare 1 officer for a missing child. They're waiting like 4 or 5 hours. Come on. Yeah, I remember that, like, really blew my mind.
Of somebody who just doesn't have their story straight, in my opinion. A couple other things going to move up. When Jennifer and Stefan were reporting Madeline missing, Stefan described Madeline to be wearing a green hoodie, blue pants, and white Crocs. White Crocs. Jennifer then stated Madeline was wearing black shorts. During this interaction, it appeared as if Stefan was answering the deputy's questions while Jennifer was also trying to answer the questions. Stefan appeared confident in his answers about Madeline's description, where Jennifer did not. So I don't know if that is maybe some kind of indication that the second story is the right story, or if it's more of an indication that, hey, Jen just doesn't have the story straight. She's on medication. She's an anxious person. She's somebody who deals with mental illness issues. It could be something like that. Who knows? So, but these are things that we've talked about a lot over the last couple of days that I thought that I would bring up. Okay, scrolling down. Yeah, we know that Stefan. We've listened to the recording a couple times. The first interview with Stefan. I think probably on Monday we're going to go over another couple of recordings with Stefan. But obviously we know that his story was BS. The license plate readers and video footage show his car going all over the place. That was all bunk. Okay, there's this whole section about Yolanda Zambrano, who is Madeline's grandmother, and she is the one, she tells the detectives that it's not uncommon for Madeline to walk over to her place of business, which, that also seems kind of strange. Okay, if Maddie's not at school when you went to pick her up, just go over to grandma's, right? But it seemed like she did not have that story quite straight. This sentence, though, stuck out to me. Yolanda stated she doesn't like Stefan because he doesn't do anything, as in working. She said Jennifer just doesn't want to be alone. To me, that is an indication that there is a what do you call that? I'm blanking on my words here. That there's a dependence, like an unhealthy dependence that Jennifer has on Stefan, even though that he's not, according to Yolanda's statement, contributing to the little family unit, right? He's not working. He's playing his games. He's playing his Warhammer. He's playing with, his little Tamagotchis and stuff like that. He's just really kind of a 40-year-old. He's a 37-year-old, 13-year-old himself. But that last sentence, that Jennifer just doesn't want to be alone, indicated to me just some type of
I didn't realize
dependence
I was muted. We heard yesterday about how his Stefan's parents felt the same way about their relationship, and how they supported Stefan his whole life. They didn't, Yolanda nor Chris and his wife supported Jen and Stefan being together. Nobody was real happy with that relationship
that she has on that. A lot of this other stuff we already know about. Gonna skip down. Okay. So, this is the part about the dumpster. We learn a little bit more about the dumpster here. Okay. While I was conducting interviews with Jennifer and Stefan, Detective Belardes, hold on, when was this? This was on the 27th, I think. Okay. From the Orange County Sheriff's Office, learned the garbage dumpster from Venetian Bay, the apartment complex, had not been collected since Stefan is seen on video throwing several items away. Detective Belardes arranged for the dumpster to be collected and transported to 4978 LB McLeod Road, where the dumpster was emptied in a secure area away from all the trash. The Orange County Sheriff's Office Forensic Unit responded and assisted in searching through the trash from the dumpster. Crime scene investigators located a tire which was in the trash. That would be the tire that he shredded, in his words, while he was actually near the scene of where Madeline Madeline's body was found, right? And near the tire was a plastic bag that looked similar to the one Stefan is seen on camera throwing away. Inside the bag was a black backpack with a Hawaiian print. Inside the backpack was an Orange County Public Schools laptop computer belonging to Madeline Soto. Also in the bag was a single, and I think that
Another stupid criminal mistake. Like, do you not think they have some kind of GPS or tracking device in those laptops? Because it's for the school. So they're going to make sure that, like, the laptop doesn't get stolen or something like that. Or if it does, it can be quickly located and brought back to the school because they're not cheap. So I can't imagine that it wouldn't have had a GPS tracker or some kind of locator in it.
that's supposed to say white crock. This crock matched one that was found in the residence where Madeline resided. These items were collected by the Orange County Sheriff's Office crime scene investigators and submitted into evidence. Remember the story here. Stefan says that, and this is the crock is going to be important. Well, I guess her footwear is going to become important here just a second, guys. His story is Madeline gets up. She's all excited to go to school early. They're going to go by McDonald's. She's going to get a McDonald's breakfast. That's why they're so early, which makes no sense to me in the world. And then as they're going, Madeline is like, I'm tired. And so she falls asleep. No, I don't want to go to McDonald's. It just doesn't ring true to me, right? His story is she was asleep in the car. Of course, we read from other reports that Madeline can be seen on surveillance cameras, traffic cameras, and other surveillance cameras where she is slumped over, mouth open. And they believe that she is already deceased in those videos. I believe so too. And there is supporting evidence for that here in just a second.
And if you looked at something, if you saw her supposedly asleep in the car and it didn't look like she was sleeping and she's disappeared and all that, it's not hard to make a connection that she definitely was not asleep. What irritates me is Jen's reaction to that. That's why I'm like, I mean, did you really not care about your child that much? Or did you already know?
Right. We go down a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and read from the top here. On February 29th at approximately 5:09 p.m., we contacted Jennifer. I advised Jennifer that our crime scene technicians were there to collect additional items that were seen in Stefan's photographs. Jennifer confirmed on the morning of February 26th, she was awakened by Stefan trying to put a leash on their dog. Jennifer got up and Stefan told her not to worry about it and go back to sleep. Jennifer said she doesn't remember Stefan coming back in to tell her goodbye or saying goodbye to Madeline. I asked her about writing a statement to Orange County deputies about seeing Madeline the morning of 2/26. Jennifer stated she wanted to believe that she saw Madeline, but she actually did not see her. Jennifer said Madeline picked out clothes to wear on the evening of February 25th. Now, this is like a new little nugget, right? This is a little change in her story. Why would she know that she was wearing black shorts? Oh, because she picked out clothes the night before. I asked Jennifer to explain her and Stefan's sex life, which she described as vanilla. Stefan would want to have that kind of sex right here. And with Jennifer, and she said she didn't want to. And then it goes into her medications. Holy cow, was she taking medications? These are Madeline's medications. So Adderall, hydroxyzine, Miralax, whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Let's see. When I asked Jennifer about the sleeping arrangements, Jennifer said Madeline would sleep with her most of the time. And when Stefan was there, they would all sleep in the same bed together. Jennifer said when her and Stefan broke up, I should say she and Stefan broke up, she could only think of a few times that Madeline slept with Stefan in a separate room. I can only think of a few times that happened. Very rare, I guess. Jennifer said she didn't feel comfortable with Madeline sleeping with Stefan, and it didn't look right to her. Yeah, of course it didn't. Like, guys, from the very beginning here, I have suspected, like, is this woman kind of pimping out her daughter to her boyfriend? Is that what's happening here? And reading these explanations, to me, I just feel that that is the case. You know, I didn't really feel comfortable with Madeline sleeping with Stefan because, he's my boyfriend, and she's 13, and it's gross, stuff like that. It just didn't look right to me. I asked Jennifer when she started feeling comfortable with it, and she said she never was comfortable with it. I challenged Jennifer about telling them to go sleep together on 2/25/24, and she said it was a selfish move because she wanted a good night's sleep. That is, I just do not buy that at all, and I would love to hear your comments on that. Like, put a little GF in your comments, because like I I don't know in what world it would be normal to sleep in the same bed with a 13-year-old girl, like a stepdad. It's not even a stepdad. It's the on again, off again boyfriend of the 13-year-old's mother. I don't know. That does not make any sense whatsoever. She wanted a good night's sleep, but she also talks about the medication she's on that makes her loopy and passes her out, right? Makes her pass out. So, like, which is it? Did you want a good night's sleep, or did you want to give your daughter to your boyfriend because he was unsatisfied with your vanilla sex life? Is that really?
I mean, and I can't help but to agree with him. I think this is questions that a lot of people have asked. It doesn't make any sense.
What happened? It's just so. Yeah, here we go. I asked if she saw Madeline or oh no, this was the roommate. Yeah, this is the roommate. Here we go. Let's see. This is all the roommate's testimony. We can go over that another time, I think, but there's something more important. I just really want to get to the stuff that I've highlighted. Okay, so let's start up here. Detective Smallwood, Corporal Ilgen, and I responded to 5670 Hickory Tree Road, where we contacted several deputies with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. It was decided Osceola County Sheriff's Office Forensics Unit would be processing the scene. I asked to be brought to where the body was located. Forensic Supervisor Emily Seda walked me to the area where the body was. Based upon the clothing description seen on several videos, the body did appear to be that of Madeline. The lock on to the farm was still locked and didn't appear to be tampered with. Stefan would have had to drop Madeline's body over the barbed wire fence or where the gate was, then move her body to the location where she was found. I contacted the Orange Osceola County Medical Examiner's Office and asked for them to respond to collect Madeline. Medical examiner investigator Kirsten Robinson responded and assisted in processing and preserving the body of Madeline. When Madeline was removed from underneath the dry grass and hay, I immediately was able to identify her by a specific mole she had on her cheek. And I think we all recognize that. She had two moles that were pretty recognizable, one kind of up on her cheek up here and one down here on her chin, right? So he was immediately able to identify her. Madeline showed signs of decomposition to one side of her face and her hands. Madeline was wearing a green hoodie. The hoodie portion was over the top of her.
All right, so this is kind of the part we've been waiting for. I'm going to go back just a smidgen so we can hear about how they found her and what state she was in. I'm sorry about that air conditioner being on. If y'all can hear it in the back, I was feeling kind of sick, so I had to turn the air on.
And assisted in processing and preserving the body of Madeline. When Madeline was removed from underneath the dry grass and hay, I immediately was able to identify her by a specific mole
Oh.
she had on her cheek. And I think we all recognize that. She had two.
So I didn't know that she was under hay and grass when they found her. So I'm guessing that Stefan tried to hide the body. He didn't just leave her laying out in the middle of nowhere. Well, he did leave her laying out in the middle of nowhere, but like laying out in the open is, I guess, the proper term. So we know by reading into those contextual clues that he did try to disguise her body or cover her up with dry grass and hay.
Moles that were pretty recognizable, one kind of up on her cheek up here and one down here on her chin, right? So he was immediately able to identify her. Madeline showed signs of decomposition to one side of her face and her hands. Madeline was wearing a green hoodie. The hoodie portion was over the top of her head, blue jeans and white socks. The bottom of Madeline's socks were clean, which indicates she did not walk anywhere, or the socks would have had dirt on the bottom.
Right.
Madeline was transported to the medical examiner's office where an autopsy would be performed the following day. So on the, what would that be, March 1st, right? Because this was February 29 that this happened, I think. No, it is March 1st. Okay, so it would have been March 2nd that happened, okay? Then we talk about the witness there. All right. This was, and we're going to get to the autopsy part here in just a second, guys. We're getting there. I think it's on page, we're getting there. This was important to me. This is, and like these little redactions here that are labeled, that is redacted by the police. The other redactions that were just mine, I wanted to redact the name of this minor girl. Okay. On March 5th, 2024 at 14:19, so 2:19 p.m., I made contact with Stephen Young at the Kissimmee Police Department. Stephen was identified as Jennifer's ex-husband prior to Stefan. Stephen was placed under oath and provided the following statement. Stephen stated he married Jennifer in
I have not heard this either. I'll be interested to hear this.
2015 and divorced in either 2016 or 2017. Not a long relationship. He wasn't sure. I imagine that they probably separated pretty quickly, right? So he wasn't sure. Stephen stated he met Jennifer through a dating website. He stated they lived in Venetian Bay while they were married in the same location that Jennifer is living now. When they were living together, it was Stephen, Jennifer, Juan, Jennifer's father, Madeline, and Stephen's daughter. Stephen stated Juan stayed in the bedroom downstairs, which is the master bedroom, right? He and Jennifer stayed in a room upstairs, and both Madeline and his daughter had their own bedrooms upstairs as well. So no roommates. I asked Stephen how the relationship with Jennifer was when they were together. Stephen stated it was good in the beginning, but later on in the relationship, Jennifer began having mental health issues. Stephen said there were times when he would have to take care of the household when Jennifer was having a bad time with her mental health. Stephen decided to remove his daughter from that atmosphere, which is when they decided to get divorced. Stephen said he considered Madeline as his daughter due to the amount of time they spent together. His daughter and Madeline would play games online once a month for a few years. Stephen would join the game just to talk with Madeline. Stephen stated he loved and cared about Madeline, even though the relationship with Jennifer didn't work out. Stephen said he thought Madeline was in good hands. So he tried to be, I think that means he tried to become friends with Stefan since he was going to be in Madeline's life. That's interesting that he thought Madeline was in good hands, considering that Jennifer was having mental health issues.
And the amount of medication she was on. She was straight zombified. No emotion at all whatsoever. I don't know how you're taking care of a young child like that. Like I said before, I'm bipolar and I was put on lithium. When I was on lithium, my daughter was very young. And that was one of the main reasons I stopped taking it. I was living with my grandmother at the time, thank God. But like, I was like, there's no damn way I can take this and take care of my child. There is absolutely no way. And that was why I stopped taking it. There's no way you can take care of a child and be on that amount of medication. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. And I want to put that out there in the forefront. Let me put my banner up, but no, not being on that much medication, you're not giving the child the proper attention that they need.
Maybe Stephen just wasn't equipped, and maybe he thought since her father was around, Jennifer would be taken care of. I don't know. I don't need to make any excuses for him or anything. It just kind of sticks out to me. So tried to become friends, I think is what it means, with Stefan since he was going to be in Madeline's life. Stephen said he visited Jennifer and Stefan when they lived in Northport, Florida. Stephen was playing games with Stefan, which ended in a small argument. Ever since the argument of board games, they haven't spoken since. I asked Stephen where he lived when he was living in Florida. He said he lived in an area called Williamsburg, which is near SeaWorld. Stephen would move to Colorado in 2022. Stephen would keep in contact with Madeline and would inquire how she was being treated by Stefan. I asked Stephen to explain the sleeping arrangements when he was living with Jennifer. Stephen said Madeline would sleep with Jennifer, but he wasn't comfortable with Madeline sleeping with them in the same bed. I asked Stephen, so that's interesting to me. That kind of screams, and I'm a layperson here. I have no expertise, no bona fides here, but it kind of screams like a mother-daughter relationship where they have to sleep with one another, where they're like codependent on one another is just not a healthy relationship, right?
It's not at that age. And then it sounded like I didn't pick up if he included Stefan in that, but if he was included Stefan in that, he didn't find it kosher either, which tells you that nobody found it kosher and she just still decided to do it anyway. My children slept in the bed with me, but that stopped. I think my oldest daughter, which I babied the most, she was 3, I think, when she stopped sleeping in the bed with me. It's not kosher.
Like I'm starting to waffle again here, guys. Like Jennifer is a person who I just do not understand. I just do not understand. And I've been frustrated that she has not been charged with anything. But it very well could be just that to the police, or at least to prosecutors, they're like, no, this is a mentally ill woman. We don't have enough to charge her yet. Maybe that's what it is. But that whole thing where when she was married to Stephen, Madeline would still sleep with Jennifer. That just screams, and like it just is an indication to me that there's an unhealthy relationship here. But tell me why I'm wrong if I am. I asked Stephen if he had seen any demeanor changes with Madeline. Let's see, any demeanor changes with Madeline. Stephen said Madeline seemed off for the last few years, which he thought could have been Madeline going through puberty, but it
also could have been all the medication she was on
during the end of elementary school. This would be around the time, and I think it's blacked out, probably just a very short detail of maybe the stuff that they have evidence of. Stephen said Jennifer wasn't different, but she was always trying to figure out her mental health medications. Jennifer recently disclosed to Stephen where a recent medication that she had been taking knocks her out, meaning tired and sleeping. I asked Stephen how he heard about Madeline, and he stated that his wife saw something online. Stephen talked with Jennifer on February 27th when Jennifer stated Stefan took Madeline to school and made a bunch of mistakes afterwards, like deleting his phone. Jennifer also stated Stefan and Madeline both forgot their phones when he took her to school. Stephen said he believed Madeline forgot her phone, but thought it was odd that Stefan forgot his phone because he always had his phone and was typing on it all of the time.
Exactly. That was the first thing that you know, kind of gave the situation away. As an adult, you're not leaving your phone anywhere. I don't even go on a walk without my phone, because who knows, if I come across a bear or a coyote or something, I'm gonna need to call somebody and get somebody to come out there and help me. You don't leave without your phone anywhere. You never know what could happen. The world's a crazy place. Adults don't leave without their phone.
Yeah, I'm still, well, Stephen knows Madeline much better than I do. I've never met her, right? But I still find it hard to believe that a 13-year-old would forget their phone. Let's see. But yeah, he's like,
And I do too, but I find it more plausible that Madeline forgot her phone than that Stephen forgot his. Thank you, Jenny. Yes, please like, subscribe, comment, and share the live. Thank you so much.
but Stefan was always on his phone, always on his phone. It's odd that he would forget his phone, which of course my suspicion is that he didn't want to be tracked where he was driving. Okay, Stephen said he wanted to make sure he spoke with Jennifer over the phone because he wanted to hear the tone of her voice. Stephen described Jennifer's tone as being anxious if something was wrong. Stephen said they were speaking over speakerphone and Stefan was with Jennifer. Stefan made the comment that he felt guilty because he forgot his phone and then he accidentally reset it. Nobody accidentally resets a phone, guys. It's not something you accidentally do.
Nope.
It asks you, are you sure you want to do this before you do
Right.
it?
Exactly.
Stephen,
I just posted the link in the comments box if anybody wants to join me.
couldn't believe that Stefan was saying over the what's Stefan.
As a matter of fact, when you reset your phone like that, I know it asks at least once, and I think it might be twice, that it's like, are you sure you want to do this? So yeah, I mean, but the cops picked up on that pretty much immediately. They had a lot of questions about that whole incident, and it's pretty obvious that you're trying to hide something. They knew right then that something was fishy.
Stefan was saying over the phone, whatever. Jennifer began saying what time she thought she woke up because of the dog, and Stefan interjected and told her that he would take care of the dog so she could rest. I asked Stephen if he knew why Jennifer didn't go to Madeline's birthday party. Stephen said Jennifer's family can be a lot to handle sometimes, and if she was starting a new job, he understood why she wasn't there. I asked Stephen if he thought Jennifer had anything to do with what happened to Madeline, and he said he doesn't feel like she would deliberately known because she had family that could have helped her with the situation. Okay, so he's like, I don't think she deliberately would have done that. If she was having problems, she had family to turn to, I guess. Stephen said,
but if we think about what Stefan's parents said, that his mother was stating to the fact of, she thinks that Jen might have walked in to get Maddie up for school or something, or walked up there for whatever reason and caught them in the bed unclothed. Did she snap and do something, and is Stefan taking the fall for it? Or did none of that happen and she just doesn't give a shit about her child? I think actually both could be true.
I think it's his daughter is starting to see a new therapist. And he said if she discloses anything related to this case, he would let me know. So that was...
let me reiterate, because that might not have made sense. I think that she didn't give a shit about her child, but maybe she walked up there and snapped and did something to Maddie out of like a crime of passion, but it was more because she cared about Stefan than she cared about Maddie. I just wanted to put that out there, because the way I said it the first time might not have made sense.
Yes. All right. I am going to skip down. There's a lot in here, guys, and I'll put it on my website as quickly as I can. Let me just skip on down. Okay, March 7th. This is, yeah, I want to read this. This is one of the roommates. Okay, there are two roommates that I've redacted out their names, though there was a recording of them that they weren't redacted on. There were two recordings that they weren't.
I haven't done the roommates. I think I might have played one recording, but I'm interested in hearing what the roommates have to say.
Redacted on, and I hadn't listened to them prior, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, the redactions are mine here, okay? And this is the paragraph I wanted to read. Okay, March 7th, 10:38 a.m. I contacted the roommate that lived at 4012 Santa Maria Drive. She provided the following in a sworn statement. She stated she has known Jennifer for years because she was friends with Jennifer's sister. She moved into the residence in the beginning of 2022. She stated Stefan was already living at the residence, but she didn't communicate with him outside of saying hello and goodbye. Stefan would spend most of her time in her own bedroom. She would spend most of her time in her own bedroom with her son. Jennifer confided in her that Stefan wasn't maintaining a job to help provide for the household. That is when Stefan moved upstairs away from Jennifer and eventually moving out of the residence and back to his mother's and father's residence. She stated her work schedule and morning routine are consistent because it had to be for his son. She stated she makes it a point to be out of the house at 7:45 a.m. because she has to drop off her son before she goes to work. She stated Madeline is normally waking up as she is leaving for the day, and she would.
I've got to go potty real quick, so I'm going to play this and come right back.
Sometimes see her. I asked if she ever saw Madeline getting ready for school. She said that Madeline would typically get ready for school in Jennifer's bedroom. I asked her if she has ever seen Madeline be alone with Stefan, and she could only remember one time they were inside of his room playing video games. She texted Jennifer asking if she was good with Madeline being in the room alone with Stefan, and Jennifer replied saying thank you. I asked her if Jennifer takes medication, and she said she thought she took medication to help with her ADHD and sleeping habits. She described an incident where she tried waking Jennifer up in the middle of the night because someone tried breaking into her car. She stated it was very hard to wake Jennifer up and believed it was because of the medication. She stated during the evening of February 26th, she told Jennifer that she would help pass out flyers on the 27th or do whatever else.
So if this woman is having trouble waking Jennifer up, I still can't fathom why you would let Madeline sleep with Stefan. I mean, if she's having trouble waking you up and somebody's outside trying to break into the car that's parked directly in front of the house, making Madeline sleep with Stefan so you can get a good night's sleep just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Any way you look at the situation. And now here we're hearing the roommate talking about how hard it was to wake her up. Madeline sleeping in the bed with you would not have bothered you, ma'am. This is all, I mean, it don't add up.
That needed to be done to find Madeline. That is when Stefan looks at her and asks her, "Are you okay?" She became annoyed and told him no. She was bothered with this question from Stefan and thought the question was odd. She described Jennifer as being in pieces, meaning very upset about Madeline's disappearance, and Stefan was acting like he was concerned. I asked her if she has ever known Madeline to want to go to school early, and she said no. She stated she did not think Jennifer had anything to do with Madeline's death and became very emotional, saying they love their kids. All right. So maybe I'm being a little too hard on Jennifer. I don't know. I keep waffling here, guys. I'm like the king waffle here.
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think anybody is. This shit's weird.
Maybe she just is so mentally unwell that and overly medicated that she like the whole thing where she had been going to sleep. Like, I just can't believe you would go to sleep while your daughter is missing. I would believe that you would pass out from exhaustion, but not like prepare and get ready for bed kind of a thing.
Right.
But maybe it was the medication that she was on. I don't know. I'm sure you guys will tell me what you think of that. Okay. We're getting close to the stuff about the autopsy. This is a great narrative, by the way. You know, where did it go? Did I skip it? Hold on, let me find it. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I totally skipped it. Okay. So I placed a telephone call to Jennifer to let her know that we located Madeline and that she was deceased. Jennifer started to cry over the phone and handed the phone to her father to continue the conversation. I told him that I would be in touch with the family in the next day or two. March 2nd, 2024, at approximately 10 a.m., Detective Smallwood and I responded to the medical examiner's office for Madeline's autopsy. If you guys don't know this, this is pretty typical. The police officers who are doing the investigation typically are present during an autopsy. It's not a hard and fast rule, but I see it more often than not. And during testimony in court, trials that I cover, and so forth, it happens most of the time.
If your insurance won't cover Ozempic, here's an option.
I don't want any Ozempic, but thank you for the offer.
The autopsy was performed by Dr. Stephen Giles. Prior to the autopsy, I examined Madeline's body when it was initially uncovered. I noticed her socks were clean on the bottom, which confirmed my observations when she was located in St. Cloud. Okay, this is the important part. During the autopsy, Dr. Giles expressed concern over the hyoid bone in Madeline's neck. Dr. Giles stated the right portion of the bone was not intact, which could possibly be related to her being strangled.
Okay.
Dr. Giles listed the initial outcome of the autopsy as pending, and that is all it says about the autopsy. But let's have a quick conversation, guys, about the hyoid bone. And again, take this for what it's worth. I am a lay person who I just enjoy investigating.
Okay, the hyoid bone is in your neck. Actually, I can pull it up so we can get a better idea. It is the bone that breaks when like if somebody was to do themselves in, it would be the bone that would break during strangulations, things like that. You'll have to give me a minute. So I'm going to share this and try to pull this up. Here, let's look at images. Yeah, I would like to look at that, please. Okay, hold on. Lordy, lordy. There we go. Okay. So the hyoid bone is this one right here. And that's the bone that was broken. So and they've got the head tilted back. So you can see how, like, as in that's how the head would be if somebody was to hang themselves or something, and why that bone would break. Or if you strangle somebody and are squeezing on their neck, the hyoid bone, which is this bone right here, is going to be the first to break. So that's where the bone is located that was broken. Now let me pull back up our other thing. I think I'm going to be probably about done with this because I don't want to go over his whole live. I feel like maybe you should go check him out if you want to know everything he says about it. We'll play a little bit while I
So
get
I've
my
done a
next
lot of
call.
research on this stuff, but I have no credentials here, right? There, if you looked at my CV, it would have nothing to do with forensics or pathology. Okay. But what I understand is the hyoid bone is flexible and still in separate pieces, most likely at the age of 13. It's not until you're in your late 20s that your hyoid bone, which is kind of a U-shaped bone that goes around some of the soft tissues in your voice box and so forth, that hyoid bone does not fuse until it's different for every person, but until you're well into your 20s. Like I remember the case of Amanda Winkowski. I looked at, in fact, let me bring these up for you here real quick. I should have prepared this, but let me show you some hyoid bone x-rays so you know that what we're talking about. And this might take me just a second. Let's look at Maddie while we're doing that. And I am only sharing these because I've been given permission to do so in the past. So let me just see if I can get there. I have not looked at these in so long.
We're going to go ahead and get out of this now. If you want to know what all he has to say, hold on, sorry. If you want to know what all he has to say, please go check him out. We're going to move right on to Nick the Hat. This is going to be the Sebastian Rogers case. I saw some drama that SF Investigates put out there just now, and I don't know if I should even talk about it.
Hey guys, we are on day.
Because I don't know. I'm trying not to do drama. Oh, Jenny, I'm sorry. I didn't see what you said. So she said, I don't mean to be too graphic. I heard a different content creator say that specific area seems for silencing. Okay. Yeah, possible. Very possible. Okay, so the last I heard, this man was sent a cease and desist. He's supposed to be working with Dog the Bounty Hunter to find Sebastian Rogers. So this was 15 hours ago. I know he's trying to sell green light bulbs so everybody can put a green light bulb on their porch to help bring Sebastian
Rogers. Sebastian went missing February.
I think it's a cute idea, but I don't agree with you making money off of selling green light bulbs. Maybe reference people to Walmart or Amazon where they can get one that you don't make a kickback off of. But there's been a lot going on with this case and the drama. So I'm just going to see what he has to say real quick.
25th of this year. And there's been a lot of, obviously, information coming out of people saying he was the 26th. I can tell you that Dog's team has spoken to every single neighbor just about in that neighborhood. And they didn't see Sebastian come home. Nobody did. As of right now, Sebastian vanished on February 25th until evidence surfaces that indicates otherwise. The only information that we have that says it was the 26th are two people who have changed their story more than Walt Disney could possibly do himself.
I don't agree. I don't think their story has changed. And I think the police showed Seth evidence of Sebastian coming home that night and him taking the trash out. But I could be wrong.
In addition to that, there was an altercation with Christopher Proudfoot and a neighbor where Christopher Proudfoot understood the name of a young girl. He talked to this young girl as if he was going to beat her. Okay, he goes up to a window of a car on the night the neighbor was searching. Young girl in the back seat rolls down the window. He calls her by her whole name, pounds his chest like a gorilla, and threatens to beat them out of there. Okay, and you're telling me that there's nothing to worry about? Again, guys, it's day 203. Dog is going to be on national TV along with a couple of the attorneys this week to make, give updates as far as what has happened thus far, what is to come, and an interesting point that I'll leave it to them and the networks. But again, day 203, we're set.
The networks. This is my concern. This is Nick the Hat. Please give him a like, subscribe, and follow. This is my concern. They're bringing in Dog the Bounty Hunter and all of these people and making a bunch of drama. I feel like they're going to make a TV series out of a missing child. That is more concerning to me than any of all of this other mess that he is talking about. And about him yelling at the girl that was in the back seat of the car. I heard about that in the beginning, but I feel like I really need some proof of that.
7 months in, and we are being threatened. Another threat that came in, something to the effect of, if I string this along, I will kill you. It said, if you string this along, I will kill you. String what along? And the I will kill you is rather direct.
You're getting involved with crazy people on YouTube and things. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that we don't know who sent that. It could be a crazy off of YouTube. So, I'm not going to put much into that email. Who knows what kind of emails and how many he's getting. Once you put your name out here, especially in this case with all the drama surrounding it, you're going to get crazy emails.
That's what we're dealing with. That's what's coming to us, and that is part of the problem. The attorneys have initiated federal injunctions that are going out to various different people. If it's not just one, but there are individuals that are going to get them, because again, this is about a missing teenager. It's not about the sideshow. When I'm silent for a week, usually I'm in legal meetings. And of course, there is an official gag, so to say, and I can leave it at that. But we're looking for a teenage boy named Sebastian Rogers. Again, he was last seen on February 25th. The next day is when they said he went missing. Yeah. And Chris Proudfoot approached a neighbor, a female. Mind you, a female, because when he goes to women, he's not afraid to. If it was a man, he would have ran. I'll tell you right now. Because if he told that to a man, that man would have gotten out of the car and beat the heck out of him for knowing that little girl's name. Proudfoot, how do you know the girls' names in your neighborhood?
I don't think you should be attacking him like this. I'm going to need to see some evidence. Jen says it seems like a profit instead of finding Sebastian. It really does. I really think with them and he was just talking about networks. This has been my concern from the beginning. If Dog the Bounty Hunter legitimately wanted to get involved to find Sebastian, that would be great. But Dog the Bounty Hunter needs another TV series to keep making money and keep, his name out there. And I really feel like that's what it's more about to him, is starting another TV show, and off the back of Sebastian than finding him. And now Nick the Hat here is talking about TV shows and networks. Well, he said networks. So that's letting me know that, yeah, thinking that is not too off base.
Neighborhood, buddy, are you planning something on these little girls? What are you trying to do? How do you know the names of little girls in your neighborhood? Huh? Because I know Sebastian's not giving you the names of every girl in the neighborhood unless you're on Facebook stalking them. Stuff is very interesting in that neighborhood. Neighbors are scared of their lives. Neighbors have told us that they were threatened by none other than the Shamefoots. So again, this case is rather interesting. It's insanity. We are having our lives threatened. We're chasing other avenues that include what is said in the press release by the attorney. Rich, wealthy individuals need to understand that there are laws and there are boundaries, right? And the boundaries were crossed a while ago. Now that they're getting worse. If you string us along, I will kill you is not a normal comment to get during a missing teen case. Is it the same person that took Sebastian that said that to me? Because that's interesting. Again, Proudfoot approached a female neighbor. She was searching for Sebastian. She was ordered to leave. He told her, get out, leave. That was when it first happened. So as it's
When I hear that, what I'm thinking is if it did actually happen, if this girl was the cause of a lot of trouble and he thought that she was there just to cause issues and cause trouble, and his emotional state is out of whack because Sebastian is missing, and you got to think this is this is the night that they were searching that he had went missing, then I could see him maybe overreacting because his emotional state is so high because Sebastian's missing. But I try to be fair to both sides.
let's find out. I think I'm froze. I don't know. I can't see a thing, guys. So give me a second. Keep going. I think I froze. I'm gonna start the stream over if it doesn't pop back in.
That's him doing that, and it ends right there.
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing,
Okay. I'm gonna show this. It consumed me a little bit, but I'll go ahead and show what I saw. Now, if you want to go check her out, feel free. I'm not gonna go much into it. Because it seems like a bunch of drama, but I'll talk about it. Popped up. She's live right now, so I'm definitely not going to play it, but we'll look at the thumbnail real quick. So you can see where I don't like the way she does this, but we got Chris Hansen over here playing the piano, Seth Rogers under fire. And let me see if I can scroll up and get it to come back. And there is a post from SF Investigates or Steve Fisher, and the post says, "Are you going to discuss Seth getting a girl under 15 pregnant when he was 22 and taking her off for Georgia and her having an abortion while he was also involved with a different 13-year-old? Or are you cool with child rape?" That's a whole mouthful. I know SF Investigates is working with Chris Proudfoot. So I don't know much about that, but that's something right there. I'm not getting into that. Go check her out if you want to. That's a little bit of drama for me. If I feel it's necessary or something I need to talk about, I'll do a live on it tomorrow. I wanted to look into this guy that Jonesin was doing the other day. I think it was yesterday. I can't remember his name, so I'm going to try to get his name.
I'm gonna do the toilet thing.
Sorry, children. So Wade Wilson is his name. I'm going to pull up what I can on Wade Wilson so that we can get the information on him, and then I'm probably going to have to stop for today because I've got a lot going on. The kids got up early, and I just don't know that I have time to continue on much longer. So I'm going to pull up what I can on Wade Wilson, and we'll see what's going on with him. Okay. So we'll go to Entertainment News Online. I will pull that up, and we will see what this is all about. Okay. So it says inside the gruesome Deadpool killer case that led to a death sentence for Wade Wilson. Wade Wilson of Florida, dubbed the Deadpool killer because he shares the Marvel character's name, was sentenced to death for the murders of 2 women in 2019. So is this okay? That's what's her name? Yeah, okay. So by the time police found the body of Diane Ruiz in a field in Cape Coral, Florida on October 10th, 2019, the man who'd eventually be sentenced to death for killing her was already in custody. Wade Steve Wilson, dubbed the Deadpool killer because Wade Wilson is the Marvel character's regular guy name, was arrested October 8th after sharing grisly details about his crimes in a phone call with his father, who helped relay the information to police. But when officers first picked Wilson up at an unoccupied residence he'd apparently broken into, the 25-year-old wasn't arrested on suspicion of murder. Rather, Wilson was charged with burglary, larceny, and damaged property, as well as with battery for attacking a woman identified during his June 2024 murder trial as his then girlfriend, Melissa Montez, on the morning of October 7th in Fort Myers, Florida. Days later, the Cape Coral Police Department confirmed that Wade Wilson was a person of interest in the deaths of Ruiz, 43, and Katrina Melton, 35, both of whom were killed that same morning. The CCPD said in a news release that at the time, the detectives working closely with the state attorney's office were awaiting test results for the crime lab and conclusions from the Lee County Medical Examiner's office before they brought additional charges against Wilson. And on November 19th, 2019, Wilson was indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Announcing the charges at a press conference alongside State Attorney Amber Fox, Cape Coral Police Chief Dave Newland acknowledged that there had been questions as to why Wilson was not immediately charged with the deaths of Melton and Ruiz. The suspect was also charged with 1 count each of battery, grand theft of a motor vehicle, burglary of a dwelling, and first-degree petty theft. Let me be clear. Securing successful prosecution and ultimately a conviction in this case is paramount, Newland said. A hastily conducted investigation simply for the sake of speed, where steps could be missed, benefits no one. Here are all the details on the case that resulted in Wilson being convicted of murder and sentenced to death almost 5 years later. Who were Wade Wilson's victims, Christina Melton and Diane Ruiz? Melton, who was originally from Illinois, worked as a waitress who was helping to care for her mother, Katie Melton, who was starting to show the effects of Alzheimer's disease, according to the victim's mother, Richard Melton. Christine was her best friend, Richard told Newsweek after Wilson was sentenced on August 27th. They had coffee every morning. He described his sister as a fun-loving, super lighthearted person, as well as super kind and non-judgmental. The brother said that their mom hadn't processed that Melton is dead and persists in believing she's alive, well, and married. Melton met Wilson on the night of October 6, 2019 at Buddha Live Bar in Fort Myers, according to the prosecution's accounting of events during Wilson's trial. Melton was with her friend and coworker Stephanie Sailors. Per prosecutors, they stayed until closing and along with Wilson went to the home of Jason Shepard, where they spent a few hours before Sailors and Wilson met back up at Melton's place in Cape Coral. Sailors and Shepard both testified at Wilson's trial that the defendant and the victim had sex while at Shepard's house. When she left Melton's house later that night, Sailors testified everything was fine. Melton hugged me and kissed me and said she'd see me tomorrow, Sailors said. Wilson told his father he met a girl at a bar and strangled her while she was sleeping, according to the sentence ordered and obtained by E! News. The prosecution later argued at trial that Melton had injuries indicating she was woke up and tried to defend herself. Police found Melton's body at her house on the night of October 7th after her car was found in Fort Myers, and they went to check on her. Wilson's now ex-girlfriend testified at his trial in June and says she had been with him at Buddha Live but didn't want to go back to Shepard's house, and Wilson drove off in her car without permission. He stated calling her the next morning before 8 a.m., she told the court, and he came to her business in downtown Fort Myers. He was driving Melton's black Nissan Versa when he showed up, a vehicle Montez didn't recognize. Wilson tried to pull her into the car, she continued, and when she resisted, he punched, slapped, and choked her. She testified that Wilson then dragged her upstairs of her business and held her against the wall by her throat. But when he hit her again, she continued, he seemed startled by all the blood, and she took the opportunity to run. He left in the Versa after that, she said. That morning, Fort Myers police responded to 911 calls coming in around 8:50 to report a man and a woman fighting, with witnesses saying the guy was dragging a woman outside of a business, according to a 2019 probable cause statement obtained by USA Today. Ruiz, meanwhile, was last seen walking on her way to her 10 a.m. bartending shift at the Moose Lodge in Cape Coral. According to prosecutors, Wilson asked for directions to a nearby school as a way to lure her into the car. When she tried to get out, he told police he started beating her and choked her. And he said then he pushed Ruiz out of the car and ran her over with the vehicle at least 10 times while she was still alive. Good Lord. Co-workers called police when Ruiz, who was engaged to be married and a mother of two sons, ages 29 and 19, failed to show up after never missing a shift in 5 years. Ruiz's body was found 3 days later in a field behind a Sam's Club. Cape Coral Police Sergeant DeRosso, one of the officers who found her, testified that they saw a single vulture circling an area to our east, and that's what led them to the right spot. Diane was the heartbeat of the bar. Hold on a minute, y'all. I'm so sorry. Diane was the heartbeat of the bar. Moose Lodge co-worker Linda, I'm not even going to try, told NBC2 in June. She always had everybody's back. She just had that personality that was really magnifying. She has this really loud laugh that you could hear like a mile away. How did police find Wade Wilson? Fort Myers police officer McCormick testified during Wilson's murder trial that he was part of the search for Wilson following his attack on Montez when he spotted him parked outside of Joe's Crab Shack around 3 p.m. October 7, 2019. Wilson told him he was waiting for his girlfriend and was otherwise uncooperative, McCormick said, explaining that he couldn't give chase when the suspect drove away because he was only wanted on a misdemeanor battery charge. Police did not yet know about the murders, the officer said. Wilson's biological father, Stephen, testified at trial that the defendant called him multiple times on October 7th and started describing what he'd done that day, calling himself a killer. He admittedly didn't believe what Wilson was telling him at first. He testified, but eventually put the young man on speakerphone so his wife could hear, and she relayed what he was saying to police. I'm not going to try that one either. Who said he and Wilson's biological mother were teenagers when they placed him for adoption, told the court that he asked Wilson to tell him where he was and that he'd send an Uber to pick him up. In court, they agreed with the prosecution's characterization of Wilson that Wilson didn't show any remorse when they spoke. And I guess after being in jail, he had all the tattoos added to his face, because when we looked up here at, I guess, the booking photo, there is an overlay of the sheriff's office star here, but he doesn't have all that on his face there. So I'm guessing those are jail or prison tattoos that he has since added to his face to be scary or whatever. Who knows? He's obviously got some mental issues going on there. Authorities subsequently arrested Wilson at an unoccupied home where he'd broken in a window to get in. Wilson was charged with murdering Melton and Ruiz a month later. Over the past several weeks, while Wilson was in custody, Police Chief Newland told reporters at the November 19, 2019 press conference announcing the charges, Cape Coral police officers, detectives, and support staff worked tirelessly around the clock on these two separate but related cases. He emphasized how important it was to conduct a thorough investigation in service of building the best case possible for prosecutors. We had to ensure that we provided State Attorney Fox and her team with the best investigation, with all our I's dotted and all of our T's crossed, to ensure that justice will be served, Newland said. The community as a whole, specifically the families of Christina Melton and Diane Ruiz, deserve nothing less. Did Wilson say anything about the murders? While police had his taped confession, Wilson denied having anything to do with killing Melton and Ruiz in a November 15, 2019 phone interview from jail with NBC2. When the interviewer asked if he meant to say Melton was alive and well when he left her house in her car, Wilson said yes. He further stated that Ruiz asked him for a ride and he dropped her off at a bus stop. I agree that their deaths are tragic and sad, but do I find it strange that he interacted with two women who ended up dead in one day? He said no, I did not, because I know what I've done and what I have not. Speaking to the station again in 2023, Wilson said absolutely not when asked if he killed the women. I'm not a monster, he said. I am not a saint either by any means. I've made bad decisions in the past. Of course, everybody has. What happened at his murder trial? The prosecution gave its opening argument on June 10th, 2024, and each side rested its case the following day. After Wilson killed Melton, Assistant State Attorney Sarah Miller told the jury in her closing argument, per the news press, he didn't stop there. He was looking for more prey. He was the lion and she was his prey. When he killed Ruiz, Miller continued, the defendant testified to police that he saw her in fear. The prosecution concluded he killed two innocent victims, one trying to go out and have a good time and the other trying to get to work. I don't know how you're trying to depict yourself as not a monster when you did all that to your face. In his closing argument, defense attorney Lee Hollander said he was not there to say that Wilson didn't do it. There's solid evidence he is responsible for the two deaths and battery of Melissa Montez, the lawyer said. I'm not arguing insanity. I'm arguing he's whacked out of his mind for any of this. He's asked for a finding of second-degree murder rather than first-degree. On June 12th, the jury came back with guilty verdicts on all charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, after 2 hours of deliberations. Wow. Okay, and we'll see why he got the death penalty, and that's going to be it for me today, unfortunately. There's a lot going on. During the penalty phase, Ruiz's son, Zane Ramiro, who was 19 when his mom was killed, testified for the prosecution that he had just made the high school marching band and she was so excited to watch his debut. I never got to see her in the crowd, Ramiro said. My mom will never get to see me get married. Melton's cousin, Samantha Katomer, lamented during her testimony that her relative, who was the godmother of Katomer's child, would never experience motherhood, a role she was born to play. Defense attorney Kevin Shirley argued in court that Wilson's life should be spared. He said that his client's mental state wasn't an excuse, but an explanation for his actions. Shirley pointed to Wilson's face tattoos, including a swastika and the Joker-esque smile inked around his mouth that he had acquired since the murders, as an example of his diseased mind. The attorney argued there was no conclusive evidence that Melton was awake when she was killed, and that Wilson embellished his accounting of Ruiz because he's sick. If she wasn't conscious, then she wasn't experiencing the pain and fear that the state wants you to believe, Shirley said, he told the jury. You've got to be hard-pressed to vote for death when you don't even know what the truth is. On June 25th, the jury came back after about 90 minutes, voting 9-3 in favor of death as punishment for killing Melton and 10-2 for Ruiz, agreeing in both cases that the offense was per Florida's law definition of aggravating factors, heinous, atrocious, or cruel. In 2023, Florida joined the Alabama as the only state where juries don't have to be unanimous to recommend death. The vote must be at least 8 in favor. In Ruiz's case, per the factors, they additionally found her murder to be cold, calculated, and premeditated. On August 15th, Lee County Circuit Judge Nicholas Thompson denied the defense's motion filed July 3rd for a new trial. At Wilson's August 27th sentencing hearing, Shirley read a letter from his client's adopted parents, Steve and Cindy Wilson, in which they apologized to the victims' families and maintained that their son's drug addiction made him delusional. Wade was a joyful child, loved his parents, but the system failed him on the fateful day in 2019. Please see it in your heart not to take our son. So I'm going to have to stop it there for today. If you would like to look more into the Wade Wilson murder trial, please do so. Thank you so much, Jenny, for being here. I do appreciate it. I hope that everybody has a wonderful day. I'm going to work on trying to find some more stuff to go over for tomorrow and see what we can get into. Yeah, Jenny, if you have anything that you'd like me to go over, comment on this live later or let me know. And we'll look into it and see what I can find. I might try to check on some other FOIA requests I've made to see if anybody's gotten back to me yet, and try to find something a little bit better to go over tomorrow. I feel like I didn't do a good job on this stream. But if you're watching it on a replay, please give me a like and subscribe. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching it. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Yes, Jenny, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day too, hon. And I hope your headache gets better. I hope you feel better and try to get some sleep. And I will be back in the morning. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should